You hopefully remember that our focus on Friday was percent of a number. And so we're going to look at that in our video today. And in class we had this statement, is over of is equal to percent over 100. And I gave it to you in this format to help you with word problems when we got to that point of focusing on word problems in class. So that when we look at a problem like number 1, 12 is what percent of 96? Well, we have our of statement. We have our is statement. We're looking for what percent. So now we can use all that information to set up an equation. So my 12 is goes in the numerator. Of 96 goes in the denominator. Equals what percent? Well, that tells me that we're looking for X percent. And 100 always goes underneath our percent. So now I can cross multiply. 12 times 100 is 1200. Equals 96X. Again, I would divide both sides by 96 in order to get my X by itself. 96 over 96 is 1. So that leaves me with just X. 1200 divided by 96 is 12.5. And now I've got to remember to look back at my question and figure out what I was looking for. What percent? Well, the variable that I'm missing here is a percent. So my solution would be 12.5% of 100. Let's look at problem number 7, because it's not very often that you're going to see, at least in terms of what we do in class, percentages that are greater than 100. So we have what is of 100, 150%. Well, I'm going to put my percent in the percent place. Over 100. I have of goes in my of statement place. And now I'm looking for this missing piece right here. Now hopefully by now you should be able to look at this problem and realize my numerators are the same. Or sorry, my denominators are the same. So my numerators are going to be the same. But if you didn't see that, we can go ahead and cross multiply. And so I would multiply 100 times 150 and get 15,000 equals 100x. Divide both sides by 100. And we would determine that x equals 150. Now the process is the same even though our percentage was greater than 100. And no, our number over here for our x is not always going to be equivalent to whatever percentage it is. It only worked out to be that way because our of was 100. So you will still want to set up your proportion and cross multiply anytime you see a percent sign, even if it's greater than 100. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can see more of this word problem. Problem number 13 reads, in a recent year, 30.5% of households watched the Super Bowl. If there are 120 million households in the United States, how many households watched the Super Bowl? Well, we need to put together what information we know so far. 30.5% over 100 of households. Well, it tells me of households, but it doesn't give me a number to represent households. in this first sentence. So we got to keep reading. If there are 120 million households. Well, now it gives us a definition of households. So for the sake of solving the problem, I'm just going to put 120 down there because that 120 will represent 120 million. And we can cross multiply 120 times 30.5 equals 3660. We're looking for that is statement there. So that equals 100x. If we divide both sides by 100, remember that's going to move our decimal 2 places to the left in our original number, or use your calculator because I'm sure you're getting used to using it by now. So my x value, the number of people out of 120 million that watch the Super Bowl, x equals 36.6. Remember, we're talking about terms in millions. 36.6 million households. And remembering that this is a percent over 100 will help you to be successful, especially if you are boxing or underlining or highlighting or whatever your strategy is for pulling out important information in a word problem. Will help you to be successful in making sure that you set it up correctly, and then you should cross multiply to solve the proportion to figure out what your missing variable is. Hopefully that helped, and we'll discuss it more in class.